What's up, everybody? Welcome to Podcast Now. I'm Alex, and in this video, we got to talk about a gigantic rumor, but one that I will be honest, I do have questions about. I want to talk about the excitement and how this would actually work, if it were to happen, but also talk about some of the worrisome signs I feel with the actual leak. Now, I want to shout out Beyond the Mask, and you guys have probably heard me talk about him before. He's a friend of the channel. We talk all the time. This is nothing against him, and ultimately, he's the one who broke this. It's kind of the chain of command, kind of what comes right after him. So what you need to know about this leak super quick, he was told from another person that there was this insider. So it's really kind of three people back, right? Beyond the Mask makes the video, somebody told him, but then there's a third person, and this person is the originator of the leak. And this person was given what sounds like almost a slate of info for games in October in terms of gaming news, all of these news stories that's going to come out in October. That's a question I have. I'm going to circle back to that because that normally doesn't happen, but that's one thing kind of on this person's side. It was said that this person is reliable and they've gotten things right. The issue is, at the time of recording this, and I've talked to Beyond the Mask, we can't find this individual's name. Once we do, I think we'll be able to kind of figure out if it's a little bit more reliable or a little less based off the person's name. But right now, when I'm recording and when this video goes up, we don't know the person. The other part of it was that this person had seemingly called that Tomb Raider collection, the remaster that's coming out next year. Now, that's a huge red flag for me because nobody called that. That was actually NVIDIA that called it. Again, I want to go over that as this video goes on. So I'm not sure about this person's background. That's why I'm spending so much time, in the beginning of the video talking about this person. They say Supermassive has the rights for Ghostface making a Scream game, that it would be, the single player as we've come to expect, the Until Dawn, the Quarries of the world. And look, Until Dawn, an inspiration of that game was Scream, and, Hayden Panettiere was in that. The Quarry, David Arquette was in that. That's also the same team that made Until Dawn, and that was also an inspiration. Scream was an inspiration for that game. So it's something we've talked about so many times. It makes so much sense. If there's anybody that's going to make a Scream single player, which is what I've said I wanted over and over, right? No multiplayer. I don't need the Texas Chainsaw. I don't need Friday the 13th. I need a choose your own kind of story that we've seen from Until Dawn, seen from the Dark Picture games, even Telltale. I've even brought up Telltale as a possibility as well. But Supermassive obviously makes the most sense. They do horror as kind of their thing, right? So that's the short of it. If you want to click away now, that's pretty much it. But in terms of, again, delving a little bit more into it, I am concerned about that source. Simply, like I said before, the Tomb Raider thing, I can't find right now. I cannot find any individual that said that it would be at the Nintendo Direct. So that is one thing. If what was said about Tomb Raider, if this person said that it was going to be at the Nintendo Direct, that is different. I would give them props. But as of right now, it sounds like they're just the ones who said Tomb Raider was getting remastered, and that I can't put a lot of faith into that literally at all. You go back a few years ago. Now, it's not called it. That's one thing you got to look at. So if we go back, it says May 27th, 2022, Tomb Raider 25th anniversary 2021. So, a lot of years, a lot of dates. You think of the stuff around the world. You think about what that did to every game, imaginable. Obviously, this was supposed to line up with the 25th anniversary. So, again, long story short, really the gist of it is NVIDIA leaked this as part of that massively long list of games that they leaked. No individual did that. So, if that's this person's claim to fame, that's an outright lie. And, that's something that would make me obviously distrust this rumor. If they were talking about Nintendo Switch or it was going to be at the Nintendo Direct, that's something a little bit different. Also, again, kind of a throwaway thing of they got like a sheet of all the news of games for October. That's a little odd. Does that happen? I feel like Tom Henderson, who's probably the best leaker on planet Earth, I feel like he kind of just gets things piecemeal. He doesn't have a list of 20 things that's going to happen every single month, delivered to his desk. So that's also a really odd thing to kind of prop that person up. Again, none of this is on Beyond the Mask, by the way. This is, again, that kind of chain of command. Is this person trustworthy? Obviously, I want this to be true. I didn't want to make this video to bring down everything, right? Obviously, I want it to be true. Obviously, every single day in October, I'm going to be checking the internet to see if this is announced, right? Because the announcement's supposed to be in October. So that's something that we all kind of have to look out for. And if it does happen, that'll be one of my greatest, like, I want this almost more than anything else, right? We've talked about like a Sly Cooper, like a water park sim kind of game, a Scream narrative, single player kind of thing. You know how much I'd be behind that immediately, even beyond, and I've said this before, Supermassive, they aren't very consistent. I called them on Twitter. I said they're maybe the most inconsistent team on planet Earth. For as many amazing games, or Until Dawn is one of my favorite games, period, of all time, period. But for every one of those, you have something like The Devil in Me, which I think was atrocious. Or, some of the Dark Pictures games are really good. Some of them are downright terrible, in my opinion. So obviously, expectations are going to be sky high from the Scream fandom, from me, probably from you guys. We're going to want them to do it right. So if it does come out that it's them, phenomenal. I mean, that's really the best case scenario you can hope for. Then you start moving on to, all right, hopefully they do this well. And by the way, in case people don't know, if this is true, this is still years and years away. It's something I've said before. I don't know why they didn't kind of start when Scream 5 did incredible in theaters, right? Instead, they probably waited until maybe like a year ago, maybe like leading into Scream 6 is probably when this thing got started. And that's just a guess. It could be wrong. But again, we're probably going to have to wait like 3-4 years until this game comes out. And that would probably be long after Scream 7 releases in theaters. So they kind of missed that window that I've talked about, like with a TV show, right? Like, do a TV show now. Don't wait till like 2-3 years after the movies end. You won't have anything to kind of like build off of. Same thing, I would honestly argue for the games. I think the game would do fine. Obviously, I think it would get support. But why you would want it to release years and years and years after like the trilogy is over, I have no idea. You should have started earlier, but obviously business is a little tricky, and maybe they just didn't get the rights, or something went wrong. Final thing. I know people had speculated that, don't forget, Supermassive is making the Dead by Daylight game, like a narrative, right? Ghostface is in literally Dead by Daylight. So the question would be, can they put Ghostface in that new game? That I have no idea about, but that wouldn't really fit this rumor, right? The rumor would be Scream the game, like a literal Scream game, not Ghostface is one of 15 killers in the Dead by Daylight single-player narrative game. In fact, I don't even think they'll use licensed killers. I don't really know if that would work. So that's kind of my opinion on pretty much everything. Again, I'll keep my eyes open. If there's any news as to who the heck this leaker actually is, I'll probably, make another video and we can talk about it. But as of right now, I'm definitely skeptical because they really don't have anything to back them up. The Tomb Raider thing is not as much evidence as, some people want to believe. And until we know what they said specifically, or even what their name is, we don't even know what their name is. So until that happens, I would put this at like a solid maybe, but nothing more. So let me know what you guys think in the comments. Make sure you guys are subscribed, bell icon turned on, and I hope to see you all on the next one.